Hi guys, welcome back to the Counterintelligence Studio. Just want to give you a quick intro. We are getting ready to do a sample for a little kid's room. We got asked to make it fun, colorful, so we're just going to show you a little bit of a Bondo blade technique with some really cool colors, so stay tuned. So for this technique, I don't really like pouring streaks. I'm more like it to be blobs, but I don't want perfect circles. Okay. So for this sample, we're going to be using our white liquid. This is an electric blue spray paint. This is a Montana marble color. It's a very bright, bold blue. So we put spray paint into the epoxy to make it a very bright, bold blue. For this particular technique, not unlike pretty much everything we do, I'm always looking at trying to incorporate as many different types of pigment as I can. Somewhere between 3 and 3.5 ounces per square foot is just about perfect for this technique. If you go too much more than that, once you flip it with the Bondo blade, your colors are going to walk a little bit farther than you'd really like them to. So now we're going to add our metallic purple. So we also have a violet color, which is a lighter purple. And now that I'm seeing just how dark this purple looks against some of these other colors, I'm not going to quite use every bit of it that's in my cup. I've got a little bit of extra epoxy mixed up, and I like to do that just for that very reason. If I know I need 3.5 ounces, I usually mix up 3.5 to 4, just so I have a little bit extra. So as I start dispersing my colors, if I'm thinking something's going to be too bold or too crazy, I don't have to put every bit of it in there to have my proper coverage. So another thing that you can do after we get our colors down, before we start spreading it with a Bondo blade, if you want to, you can add more colors of spray paint. Let's just say like if this particular customer wanted there to be a little bit of like a shimmery gold in this or something like that, I could take a little bit of gold spray paint and just pour it or spray it directly into some of these spots. I wouldn't spray it directly onto the board because then it's not going to spread around. But if you put it into the middle of one of the piles, it'll spread out. You won't really see a big area of it, but when we flip the Bondo blade all the way around the perimeter of every one of those flips, anywhere that gold's at, you'll see it float back to the surface around those outer perimeters. It's actually a pretty cool effect. I actually prefer a slightly larger Bondo blade than this for this technique, but this is all I've got here in the studio today. The effect's going to be the same. It's just going to be a little bit smaller than what you would normally see with this technique. You're going to want to be a shallow angle. You're not using a whole lot of pressure, but you're also not just letting it glide across the top. The trick to this is going different directions. So you're really going to want to use your wrist a lot in this. You don't want to get repetitious with your pattern. You want to go that way. You want to go every different direction that you possibly can. Again, just trying not to create a pattern with how you're using your Bondo blade. I have a tendency of working pretty quick through these types of projects, but you don't have to be in a really big hurry. Here in Arizona in the summertime, it's 118 degrees outside. Sometimes your epoxy can set off on you pretty quick, so I've just kind of got in the habit of all my stuff I do in a pretty timely fashion, but you've got plenty of time to do this effect. You don't have to be in a hurry. Now we're coming upon the area that we put the spray paint into. You don't really treat it any differently. I'm just going to swirl it around just like I would if it wasn't there. And you're going to see around all the edges and corners of all the spots. That we hit this. Once we hit this with the isopropyl, that gold's going to kind of come back to the surface. And then it's going to sit right on the top, and it's going to look like 24 karat gold sitting right in the middle of these colors. It's going to be pretty neat. Here we go. So now you can see those different pigments are really going to start fighting each other once the isopropyl hits and fractures the colors. And then when we get down here, once all this isopropyl starts to evaporate, you'll start seeing some really shimmery gold coming out of where we added the spray paint. So after the isopropyl's had a little bit of time to evaporate, we'll come in and give this a quick torch. Make sure we help any trap bubbles get out because we do a lot of flipping with the Bondo blade. Anytime you flip it, you're given an opportunity to trap some air. So we'll give it a quick torch, but we want to give the isopropyl a little bit of time to evaporate so we don't catch it on fire. All right, guys, so that's pretty much going to wrap up this piece. Remember, with the Bondo blade, it's always important to go different directions and use different types of pigment. If you have 4 colors, minimum 2 different types of pigment, but you would love to incorporate a third if you can. So that's really the 2 main things that you watch for. Don't forget your isopropyl alcohol. And if you want those little accents of the gold or the chrome or any other color that you want, don't forget to spray paint before you flip with the Bondo blade. We'll see you on the next one.